Hey, everybody, welcome to Fangirl Football. Tonight, we are bringing you a very special show. We have got two ladies that are joining us from the Girlfriends in Football pod. That is, Beth and Dezi are here to help fill us in on what's going on with all these training camp injuries. Guys, they're in the medical field, and so they have got the information that we need to help make our decisions for fantasy drafts. And guys, I just want to also welcome the lovely and talented Miss Gina Noble is with us. She's making her podcast debut with Fangirl Football. So everybody say hi to Gina. Everybody in the chat, that is. Say hi to Gina. Guys, make sure to put your questions on in the chat, Loris. Tonight, we're going to get to those probably at the end of the show, or if it's about a specific player as we go along. But guys, I just want to welcome Dezi and Beth. Guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been awesome. It's been great getting to know you guys the last few weeks, and it's been exciting to see what we got next.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, if you haven't already gotten signed up for our Fangirl Football Championship Draft Weekend, there's still time to do that. It is next weekend, August 21st through the 22nd. We're going to be doing a happy hour on Friday, a live draft event on Saturday down at the Aloft Midtown in Tampa. Everybody you see on your screen is going to be there. So you should absolutely come on down to Tampa. Come join us. If you can't make it, we've got some stuff online that you can draft as well. But we would love for you to be there because we are finally going to get to meet all of us in person, along with Judy as well. And it's just going to be a really great time. So again, if you are within the Tampa area-ish, or you can get here, like, please come on down. Fangirlfootball.com is where you can find all the info on how to sign up. But yeah, let's just like, generally speaking, before we talk about like some specific players, I wanted to kind of know, like, when you guys see an injury report that comes across during training camp, like, what information are you guys kind of like looking for that maybe like the average fan isn't? And then also, I probably should have just asked you guys, like, tell us a little bit about your backgrounds and everything, so that we can all kind of get to know you guys. And I'll let you guys flip a coin to see who goes first, or thumb wrestle, whichever works.
Beth, I'll pass it to you first.
All right. Well, I'm Beth. I'm a physical therapist. I work in the pediatric setting, but I've worked kind of in all different areas over the years. 20 some-ish years experience. I don't like to say those numbers out loud. But I have loved the ability to kind of bring football and physical therapy together and kind of see how those two meld. My husband always used to joke when we would be dating, and early on in our relationship, I'd walk by the TV and just say, oh, that's a AC sprain, he's out for 6 weeks, or, oh, he broke his collarbone, or, oh, that's an ACL tear. And like 2 days later, the report would come out and he's like, how did you know that? Just let's do. So I think it's kind of neat to have that medical background. I know that Dezi is the same way, where we can kind of just sometimes see things and just know what it is before anybody else does. So being able to share that with y'all is going to be fun.
Yeah. So, and that's the cool thing. Like, Beth and I may take that for granted, right? Like, we can see something and be like, yeah, for sure. That's what X, Y, or Z is. And so that's where it's inspired our podcast, Girlfriends in Football, was because we could share that. And we actually found that by talking about injuries in the sports arena, people get to learn about their own bodies, and they can learn, not just for what the player is going through, but what may be for them, depending on what's ailing them. So yeah, I'm a PA, I'm a physician assistant. I've been practicing like Beth a couple of decades. I've spent time in the emergency room and time in the operating room. So I've worked in orthopedics, joint replacements, sports medicine. I've put ACLs, reconstructions back together with surgeons, and been part of that team. So it is exciting to be here and share our knowledge to help people with their fantasy drafts. And I'd like to give a little shout out, Technics Chick. That's good to see you here. Same thing with Laura. We are a party of 3, and Laura's in the chat too. So welcome, everybody. We're excited to be here.
Awesome. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us and everything. And just really excited about all the things that we've got planned for this season, and going on into getting football started. But guys, I'm going to put the link for the Girlfriends in Football podcast in the chat. So you guys can make sure to find them and make sure to give them a follow online as well. Do you guys want to tell everybody where they can find you on socials?
It's Girlfriends in Football, literally everywhere. So, Girlfriends in Football on Instagram and YouTube for sure. I think I see it in the chat there. So we'd love to have you. We're going to be our first podcast of the season is going to be live from your event. So yeah, we're excited to meet everybody that's coming here in Tampa and come by and chat football with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely. I know, and then we're going to be doing are we thinking about maybe doing some like other live events this season?
Tailgating,
sure.
I think.
Yeah, I
be
like
the
some
fun
tailgating.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We try our best. We're all pretty busy on our Girlfriends in Football podcast, but we try every year to try and catch at least one game for our team. And I believe a couple are going to end up in Atlanta this year. I know Dezi will be up for a game for the 49ers in Atlanta. Laura also will be in Atlanta. Everybody just come to Atlanta and visit me because that's what's going to make life easy.
Hey, I'm only 4 hours from Atlanta, so it's a quick trip.
Make it happen. Listen, we are always open to having a tailgate and a party at my place. So come on through.
Awesome. Well, guys, just remember to put your questions on in the chat. I know I see Jamie in here with a dynasty question for us. Jamie, let me put that on in the chat, and maybe it has to do with one of the players that we're going to be talking about as well. All right, see, here we go. Ben and Laura also getting to go to a Bills-Lions game. That sounds like a good time.
Oh, have you looked at what those tickets cost, Technics Check?
Oh
my goodness. That new stadium is painful. Season opener, Thursday night, Bills Stadium. The 400s are looking in the 400s range.
Oh my God.
Whatever, she says this now and it will all we'll get a phone call last minute like we're going, pack your bags. Like don't even fly into this. This is hogwash. Already she's like, hey, the Bills are going to be in Miami. What do you think about going?
But see, look at that planning. I never plan.
I know.
It's usually just show up and figure it out once I'm there. Because the problem is once I'm there, it's no longer, I don't have to feel responsible, right? Like it's too late. I'm there. You just do it. If I plan it, then I feel irresponsible because I planned to spend all of this money. It's much better to just ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah. Irresponsible spending is much more fun.
Absolutely.
And it makes for a much better story.
I mean, Buffalo's got a new stadium and all, but I'm not going to lie. Like Miami sounds a little bit more exciting than Buffalo. Just
the only issue with Miami is that it's right after New Year's. So it's a great time, but it's like hotels and everything are stupid expensive as well. So we'll see.
Guys, we're also doing Instagram live tonight too. So if you guys are watching on Instagram, make sure throw your questions on in there, and I will be trying to watch that and make sure that we get to everything too. But let's go ahead and let's get started with one of our biggest fantasy players over the last couple years, Malik Nabers. He's had some really horrific knee injuries going on, but I mean, it sounds hopeful that he's going to be back for week 1. I just like, given all that he's been through with his injury and his recovery and everything, can you guys kind of like walk us through a little bit about exactly what's going on with him, with his injury, and kind of like what things are being reported with him right now?
Desi, I don't know how much you have on him, but I know that, so he hurt his ACL. He tore his ACL last season early on. They did surgery about a month later. And then just over the summer, they did another surgery. He was having some scar tissue and some issues with healing from that standpoint. So they went back in, scraped out some of the scar tissue so that he could regain some more mobility and range of motion and function. Since that time, it sounds like he's had a pretty good rehab following that. It sounds like he's working hard in training camp. He's starting to do some sideline practices. So I think he really is doing pretty well right now. He's 9.5 months post-surgery from his first one. So he's heading in the right direction for sure. I would not be surprised if he starts at the beginning of the season when he's supposed to.
Like, what is the typical like recovery process from that kind of injury? What does that look like?
So when we're looking at ACL rehab, especially after a surgery, you have to go through the stages of healing. So all of these injuries that we talk about come across the same stages of healing. You have that inflammation stage, you have that healing stage, you have the time where you can start range of motion mobility on a slower scale, you transition to linear movements, and then you transition to lateral movements and explosive movements. So that's your plyometrics, that's your cutting, that's your sprinting, things like that. ACLs really look at like kind of 3-month chunks to heal. So the first 3 months is mostly immobilization, gentle range of motion, stretching, things of that nature. And then you get into doing, like we said, the next 3 months is that starting to jog, weight-bearing activities, things like that. And then you move on to the plyometrics and higher level sport-specific activities. And for somebody like a wide receiver, you're looking at lots of sprinting, lots of cutting, lots of repetitions from that standpoint, high impact from there.
We have a question in the chat here. Does the typical ACL rehab also potentially include knee tendonitis? Just asking for a friend.
Girl, I know she's asking this because of Bosa. So Bosa is on his third ACL and now had missed a little practice because of what they're calling knee tendonitis. So yes, Beth, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this.
I mean, it can. I think maybe that's I don't know, Desi. Do you think that it's truly a tendonitis? I think what happens is that you're just rehabbing, it's injured, and you keep rehabbing it. You go back and forth. Like with anything, the continued scar tissue, the continued pressure and tension on it will cause irritation. I don't know if it's necessarily a tendonitis. I don't know, Desi, your thoughts?
I don't trust anything the 49ers say. They are not very forthcoming. I mean, just take the CMC injuries. Like, it's not his Achilles and then no, it wasn't just an Achilles. It was both Achilles. Like I don't believe what they dish out. I mean, rightfully so. It's part of the game, right? Like, they're not going to come out and tell you where to hit them because they're coming back from stuff. This is not his first ACL. He's been killing it because he knows the rehab, probably like the back of his hand. And so, yeah, he's probably excited to get out there. Is it tendonitis? I'm not in the building. I can't tell you 100% sure. I would probably say, you put a itis on the end of anything, it just means inflammation. Is it the actual tendon or is it something else that's inflamed in the knee? Who's to say? But I don't know, what that will look like for him moving forward. I do expect the 49ers to be a top 10 injured team. It's just been our record for the last decade plus. So
I think they already are a top 10 injured team.
Yes.
Great.
Like of all time,
Their
or
list
just
is
even this
already
season.
a full page long.
But I will say, since the question was about Malik Nabers, I do want to point out what I love talking about on rehabs of ACLs. The data has shown that these athletes coming back, they're not expected to be back to their baseline when you saw them prior to injury until a year after. So this season is not when you're going to see Malik Nabers back to who he was before his injury. It's going to be next season. So just to set the standard of what to expect with him coming back this season, I think it's going to be, keep your expectations a little bit moderate, especially with the second injury that he had to go through this summer. So
I think that's so important too, because like he's going in like the third, fourth round now, but I think the more news we keep seeing, the more like videos now that are coming out, he's going to get steamed up a little bit more in those, in the rounds, he's going to go higher and higher. But if you're going to take him that high, like it's so important just to keep that in mind, that he's probably not going to be the Malik Nabers that we all know and love right off the bat. But Gina, have you where have you seen him going so far?
Yeah, just very recently starting to creep up because there's been such positive information coming out of what everybody has seen so far. So I do think the window to kind of get a steal on him may have passed. I actually did take him today in a draft. It is a best ball draft. But I reluctantly was taking him before a little later. And today I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to take him. It is interesting to hear about the scar tissue. My daughter actually tore her ACL and had the exact same scenario with the scar tissue. And she was an athlete, softball player. I will say she was having mobility issues prior to that scar tissue when the doctor, was like, I think we've got this buildup of scar tissue. We need to go back in. And after removing that, it was a whole new game. So hopefully he felt that same like relief. And then she really pushed forward after that. So that scar tissue can be a real bear. Not that I have medical training at all, but I did live through it with my daughter. But yeah, do you guys feel like has it affected you at all with his injury in drafting? Are you feeling a little more confident now taking him versus before? Where do you two, having the medical knowledge, where do you stand on drafting him?
I don't think I'm necessarily as concerned about as a re-injury or necessarily. He will be, like Desi said, probably will not be hitting the same numbers that he hit in previous years. And he probably also they will probably watch his reps a little bit more. They'll probably ease him back in. So if you're looking for him to put up big numbers week 1, week 2, week 3, chances are that is not when you're going to see him balling out this season. He's going to be closer to the end of the season where he's had some time to really work his way back in. The Giants know what they have with him. If they're smart, they're going to really take their time with pulling him back into full play time.
And I think with Jim Harbaugh being the coach there now, I think that he's under good advisement. So I would have confidence in that. But I would, like Beth, I 100% agree with Beth. Not the first couple of weeks, but I probably wouldn't draft him as a first round wide receiver or one of my first choices as wide receiver. I'd keep him as like a relief or, something in that capacity.
Yeah. All right. So like between now and week 1, is there any kind of update that you might want to hear that would make you feel good about where he is in his recovery or anything, even just like make you feel even better than how you feel right now? Because it sounds like we're all feeling pretty good about where he's headed and, how everything's been going so far.
He's a year out at this point. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Beth. Nope, go for it.
I was going to say, I think the pieces that I would want to see is really repetition, right? So if he's out there and able to really run practices back to back, day after day with some good intensity, those are going to be the things that I'm going to be looking for so that he's able to tolerate that kind of strain and pressure on his ACL without any adverse reactions, pain, swelling, needing to take a rest day. Those would be the things that I'd be looking for.
Nice.
Am I also a little concerned about the stadium they play in? Maybe. Just gonna leave that nugget there.
Cursed? I feel like that one's also cursed, right?
MetLife.
Like you guys have the substation on the opposite coast, and MetLife has their field. That's a menace.
Yeah, I'll just leave that little nugget there. So.
Oh my goodness! All right, well let's talk about a different kind of injury. Like it seems like it pops up all the time, and it just like drives us crazy, with these players and figuring out, like how long are they going to be out if they're going to miss any time. Luther Burden comes off with a groin injury. Everybody's like devastated because he was just on track to have, become like the breakout player this season. Besides Colston Loveland, he's being drafted as like the number 1 receiver in Chicago. But he leaves camp the other day with that groin injury, and it seems like he's going to miss pretty much all of preseason from the last I saw. What does that even mean? A groin injury? What all does that entail? Can you just kind of like shed some light on that for us a little bit?
So your groin muscles are the muscles on the inside of your thighs, right? So they attach up to your pelvis, come down on the inside of your leg. They're your no muscles, is what I say. Like you have yes muscles and no muscles. They're your no muscles. They're what close your legs. And they also help with your hip mobility. So the problem with these muscles is that they are used in pretty much everything that an athlete would do. They are super important on stabilizing the pelvis. They're super important on stabilizing the hips. It's what allows you to flex your hip. It's what allows you to stop and turn and cut. So any of those movements are going to cause irritation to your groin. So when you end up with a groin injury, you really are sidelined from any lateral movement whatsoever. And that's why it ends up becoming such a long process, because they're small, thin muscles that are often weaker than your other muscles, and they just work really hard to stabilize the force of a 300-pound player.
The good news is he's got a month before, week 1, but it sounds like it's pretty gnarly enough for them to come out and say that it's already going to be shutting him down for the whole preseason. It sounds like it's going to be more like maybe a 6-week, maybe 8-week. I don't know. I mean, you got to be careful with these, because like Beth said, as a wide receiver, you need all those. And the risk of re-injury, if you bring them back too soon, is there.
Are there sorry.
What
No,
what
go
is
ahead.
the cause of, I mean, obviously this would be speculation a little bit, but is it a lack of stretching? Is it a particular move? Like, where do the groin injuries typically come from?
In Luther's case, he was coming down with a ball. And so, like Beth said, there may have been like a little bit of a leg stepping. I don't have video to show exactly how he was doing that, but and Beth could probably chat more about the possibilities of how you do it. But collectively speaking, in the preseason, we see nothing but a ton of soft tissue stuff, right? They're trying to amp them up from, workouts to football specific workouts to now tackling and working their way up into gameplay. And, it's just very common. You've got hamstrings, you've got, groin pulls, you've got abs, you've got, all these soft tissue injuries that kind of spring up during this time. So Beth, I'll let you add to that.
Yeah, I think like what Desi said, we're going from controlled movements, training, exercise, strengthening, conditioning, to explosive, fast, quick movements that require immediate stabilization, right? So I think what we typically see with groins and these hamstrings and things like that is that they have been doing all the other pieces, but when you put that immediate stretch, that immediate pull on it, so if they land and plant and then you go to take off, that stretches that muscle faster and quicker than you typically would have stretched it when you were doing lunges in the gym or lateral shuffles in the gym, right? So when you do that explosive movement, you end up creating that tension and the muscle just can't keep up at that point. Groin injuries are super common. So the fact that he had one is not surprising to me. The fact that he's out this long does mean it probably was a pretty significant and severe one. So hopefully they do everything they can to kind of rest and relax him. The thing with groins as well is that you don't really notice how bad it is until you're going at 80, 90, 100%. So you can train and practice through a lot of it at 50, 60, 70% of your threshold, but it's those explosive movements, that fast 100% all guns on, where you see the biggest injuries. And
Yeah,
you see it come back.
And there, one more thing I wanted to add to that is right now we're in a very, very hot time of year. And this is like the thermometer everywhere is just really, really high. So when you have a little bit of dehydration, that does not help these muscles at all. And so it can preclude you to these soft tissue injuries as well. So that also is a factor.
So I have a question that it's not on the show sheet, but I thought about it while you guys were talking. Like, is there some like either exercise or stretching or something like that these guys could be doing, or maybe should be doing, or maybe some players are doing them already, that would help kind of lessen the risk of, I don't know, like poor Luther Burden being in the situation where he's going to miss all preseason now? Like, should he be doing Pilates or yoga? I don't know.
I do think that there is a bigger place for Pilates and yoga and those dynamic stretching movements. Desi, CMC and his animal movements, right?
Yes.
I think there is a need for that, and I do feel like they're adding it in a little bit more to their training. But at the end of the day, like I said, having the flexibility and having the range doesn't necessarily preclude you to having that high intensity fast stretch that causes these injuries. So a lot of times it just comes from not having to do it for a while and then hitting it full force.
Yeah.
So like with that, right? So we're hoping Luther Burden comes back either, like early on in the season from this, but then like he's going to be jumping right back into like doing all these different football moves, like full on the season has started. Like that just seems really concerning and really worrying to me. Like that, like would he or would they maybe suggest that he, would maybe limit the amount of time that he's on the field right away or something like that? Have you guys seen that at all? Does that sound like they wouldn't be just like throwing him right in right away, right? Would they?
There's a philosophy that if they're cleared, they are
Mhm.
cleared. That is definitely, at least coach, I've seen that with Shanahan a lot. Like if you're telling me he's a go, he's a go. I don't know that I've seen a lot around the league of, especially soft tissue where they're like, well, let's pull you back. Like he's a wide receiver. Like he's got a job to do, right? And so when they step foot on that field, they've got to be ready to go. But that's why we have great people like, like Beth, a physical therapist, that are there to ensure that they are ready to be a go. So when they say go, I mean, there may be aids like, anti-inflammatories and things like that may be helping them to get on the field more comfortably. But if they're a go, they're a go.
And they've got massage therapists, they've got chiropractors, they've got other manual therapists, they've got physical therapists, they've got a team, they've got cryotherapy, they've got red light therapy. They have all these tools at their disposal that, the way we would rehab and heal from a pulled groin from going out and playing soccer with our kids is very different from the way these guys are rehabbing. And they've got lots of smart people working on those muscles, trying to get them back to where they need to be.
Completely off topic again, but what was that thing that Matthew Stafford and the Rams, they had like outside training camp last year, that like chamber or something that they like brought to training camp?
I think it was red light. Was it, Desi?
It was what?
Wasn't it a truck with red light for Stafford's back?
I didn't hear this. I missed out on this. I mean, I know that a lot of them will do like the oxygen, but
Hyperbaric.
it wasn't a hyperbaric. It must have been.
I'm pretty sure it was like a red light therapy van that they parked out there, and Stafford literally just walked out from practice and crawled in.
That's what
it worked.
Oh, the Amortal
worked.
Chamber. That's what it was called. The Amortal Chamber.
Oh, I missed this.
Somebody needs to look that up.
Yeah, it was. It was red light. It was red light therapy. It was let me see. This is what Google says, so who knows if this is right, but it said that he utilized this rejuvenation device called an Amortal Chamber for red light therapy and recovery before returning in week 1.
Okay. I mean, along with all the other things, right? Like,
right.
That's what we have to take a grain of, we take this stuff with a grain of salt. This is not like the only thing he had going on.
No.
It was just the most obvious because
right.
It was sitting
it's a big truck
outside
24/7.
definitely not the things that we get to use for our recoveries.
Yeah, that's funny.
So once we get Luther Burden back on the field, what is our fear for risk of re-injury on the groin? Soft tissue is always something that seems to be a nagging problem. Are we worried about re-injury or this being an ongoing issue?
It really depends on how he rehabs it and how much time they give him. Because how severe this one sounds like it is, the chances of re-injury are probably more prevalent just because of the amount of damage done to the muscles. But if you rehab it and you strengthen and you do all of the things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not a death sentence to have it. It's definitely coming back. It's definitely going to be a problem. Will it bother him? Probably. Will he play through it? Yes.
I mean, and I always like to mention too, like with soft tissue injuries, you know, you're stretching the muscle fibers to the point where there can be little micro tears in there, and then that gets filled with scar tissue, which is not as pliable as muscle tissue. So whenever you have a soft tissue injury, the chances of re-injury is always going to be there, because now you've changed a little bit of that. The density of the muscle fiber is now scar tissue. And so it's always going to be there, but you know, again, it all lies in the hands of his rehab process and time that they give him. So we'll have to see.
Do you find age makes a big difference as well? He's 22 years old. He's pretty young. A lot of the younger players will heal faster than the older players. Do you think that plays a part?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, to be young
absolutely.
again.
Right.
You know, the interesting thing is when you look up these wide receivers, especially some of the ones that you've given, like I did a dive enough to see that a lot of their injuries are singular sided. Like if you look up, like I think Malik Nabers, all of his injuries have been on the right side, I think it was. I mean, it's pretty, you know, impressive that, you know, you have a dominant side, a weaker side, you know, there's chances of getting more injured. So, and you know, there's a whole nother wormhole we could go on about, you know, the kinetic chain and how, you know, one injury in one side of the body can, you know, cause problems either to the joint above or below it because of the injury. So that's a whole nother can of worms. But I just thought that was interesting as I was looking things up.
Next week's podcast.
Yeah.
Beth, Jamie has a question for you that is not injury related. He wants to know, since you're a Bills fan, what is your outlook on the season for DJ? I want to score more. Former Bears player, now Buffalo Bills player.
You know, I'm hoping it's going to be a good fit. I think they've had a great preseason. It sounded like training camp. They made some really good chemistry. I'm here for it. We need a little spit and vinegar on our team. We need somebody to start a fight, start kind of just pushing buttons. We don't need other players that we've had in the past causing those issues, but we do need somebody who's going to give us a kick in the butt and kind of push, let's go. We need that fire. So yeah. I'm here for it. The more I've been watching preseason, I'm getting excited.
Nice. Jamie, I hope that answers your question. All right, guys. So I want to talk about a Detroit Lion. And I know we've got a Lions related question also in the chat. So I want to talk about Isiah Pacheco, but then we can also bring in, they've got a lot of injuries that they're dealing with too. This is Laura, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Laura wants to know Lion concerns. Brian Branch has the Achilles, Kirby Joseph with the knee. Their new center, Cade Mays, just has a wrist fracture. Any advice that's going to make her feel better going into the season and having to contend with my Packers for the NFC North?
Oh, I mean, they're not the 49ers, I can tell you that. No, I mean, the wrist fracture fortunately will heal. Fortunately, at the beginning of the season, there's going to be weirdness that always happens in the first, I would say, 4 to 6 weeks of the season. So, you know, get it all out of the way now, get these players back by, you know, week 4. And I think, you know, that's when magic starts to happen. It's these teams that surge at the end of the season that tend to do better. So did I give you a little positivity? I hope, Laura.
You have Jahmyr Gibbs. That's all the positivity you need.
Right? Great new contract.
Yeah, you just paid him a ton of money. Honestly, the center, the Cade Mays injury really worried me for them when I saw that come out. I mean, because that, you know, like they just got him, you know, this season. So that, and then missing that time, that was the biggest concern I saw when that came out. But then we hear about Isiah Pacheco, you know, who now has an MCL sprain. Now there's literally nobody behind Jahmyr Gibbs, which is great if you have Jahmyr Gibbs on your fantasy team. But if you're looking for, you know, like a backup, maybe you took Pacheco a little bit later. Like what can you tell everybody about kind of what is an MCL sprain? Like what does that mean? What does that actually like? how does that affect like his recovery timelines, all the things, all of it?
Yeah, there's four ligaments in the knee that create stability. It's the ACL and PCL, which crisscross in the center of the knee. And then on the outside part of the knee is your LCL, and the inside where your two knees, like if you're sitting and they're hitting each other, that's your medial side of the knee, and that's where your MCL is. And so he's put a little strain there. And I think they called it a grade 1. Dan Campbell expects him back week 1. If it is a grade 1, he's got 4 weeks. I think that MCLs, minor ones, can be 2 to 4 weeks. Ones that are a little bit more severe, you're looking at 6 weeks plus or minus. So I do think there's a really good chance that he should be ready to go by week 1. Beth, your thoughts are?
Yeah, I agree. Everything that I've read and seen about it looks like he's going to be fine. It's going to take a couple weeks, but by week 1, I wouldn't have any doubt that he'll be playing his regular game.
Because he's like a hard runner, like the time that he was in Kansas City, like every time that I would see, something written about him, it's always being described as like he runs like he's angry at the ground, like he's just, just like a pissed off runner, I guess. But like we're talking like, so that was a grade 1, but like how many grades are there? And like how far up to when we go to like severity in these kind of sprains?
Typically there's 3 grades. A severe grade 3 can go into a full-on tear, right? So a grade 1 is just, as Dezi was saying earlier, that rubber band was kind of stretched. It's going to have some scar tissue rebuilt in there. MCLs and ACLs don't heal quite the same way. There isn't as much blood supply, so it doesn't heal the same way like a cut on your skin would or other things would heal. But those lower strains and sprains end up healing much better and will happen quickly. And apparently I've got a dog in my room, so hold on one second.
I had to mute myself earlier because mine busted in the door and we're like wrestling with each other in front of my desk here. So we welcome all the dogs on Fangirl Football. So
it's fine. Everything's fine.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Like what kind of like things are you wanting to see like for a running back, for somebody like like an Isiah Pacheco's position there, that you want to see physically before you think he's going to be ready to come back and take that contact?
Go ahead, Beth. I mean, it's similar to what we were saying about the ACL with Malik Nabers too, right? You want to see them have, football-like activity. You want to see them stack days, doing cuts, feeling out the knee, and really the cutting, the lateral cuts is really how you're going to test this MCL. So back and forth, pushing off, watching him, do those things are going to be helpful. You're going to see that on the sideline as they, do that off to the side. And then you'll see him eventually get into actual where he's getting thrown the ball and participating in that way. And you just want to stack those days. And so, when you start to see him starting to get back into the roundup a little bit and the practice window opens up, that's when you can really have good confidence that he's about to come back and be football ready.
I think the other thing to be cautious of is looking at landing, right? So wide receivers are jumping in the air, catching a ball, landing on one foot, trying to land on unstable. Landing on an unstable joint is going to cause a lot of stress and strain on that knee. So that's where you're going to see also a lot of time and focus is making sure that they can stabilize when they're landing. That single leg stance, single leg stability is going to be really important for them.
All right. Well, here's one that's near and dear to my heart because I just love this player. But we saw Emeka Egbuka go out of training camp with a toe injury. At first, they were calling it soft tissue. Now they're saying it's a toe. They're not saying it's turf toe. That's the first toe injury that immediately comes to mind. I'm sure there's lots of other ways that you can hurt your toe. It sounds like that's kind of what he did. But like, how significant can these like toe injuries kind of like be for a player? And I wish I knew more about exactly what like is wrong with his toe, but all I just hear like toe injury. I don't know if you guys have seen anything a little bit more specific at all.
Stacy, I am super triggered right now. I have lived through Toegate and San Francisco hell, between having one of our best linebackers ever leave the game because of chronic turf toe injury, to Brock Purdy having, this wild turf toe that, they tried to bring him back. They were like, oh, it's not that bad. And they tried to bring him back. And I think he had like a plate in his shoe, and then he came back, and then it did not go well. And then he was out even longer. And so, yeah, I'm super triggered. And so when I'm looking at this, and, this guy was so huge for the Bucks, I mean, just breakout season, backflip dude, right? Like all the things. I didn't see a video on how it happened. And that's really key. Like Beth said in the beginning, where we can see it happen, we have a better handle of like maybe what is going on. But I didn't see a video. It was at joint practice, and a teammate kind of rolled up on his leg during a play or whatever. So the key is two things. Number one, is it his big toe or is it a smaller toe? The big toe is so responsible for a lot of the push off when you run. I mean, just even walking, all of those things. And so if it's the big toe, I'd be a little bit more concerned. If it was one of the smaller toes, they can buddy tape it. There's things they can do to work with it. Now, a turf toe is where you basically take your toe and you bend it back, right? And there's a hyper extension of that toe. Now, just like everything else that we've talked about, there's grades. There's 1, 2, 3, and it can go all the way up to a straight tear. If it's a full tear, there becomes an instability of the joint, and that is super problematic. We are not dealing with that right now, right? This guy, I just saw a video of him like doing some stuff a little bit on the side, taking some catches. That's not what we're dealing with. And they've come out and said, this is not turf toe. Again, I don't believe it. I don't know. It could be, could not be. I'm a 49er fan. They don't tell us the truth. The other thing this could be is as simple as maybe a little toe dislocation. Those are super fun, because they come out like, all crinkled up, and then you just, pull it and it pops back into place, and boom, you're done. That means it's back in place, but it doesn't mean that like it's not still uncomfortable, and there's things that, you're running and stuff might be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be uncomfortable. So, the jury's out. Is it a turf toe, or is it like something else, like like I said, like a maybe dislocation or something like that? But the end of this, the end of the day, I don't expect this to be a long-term issue for Egbuka. But Beth, what were your thoughts? Because we haven't chatted about this at all. We haven't talked about this.
No, I agree. I think like looking into it, if it's not his big toe, like Dezi said, the big toe basically controls everything in your foot all the way up the chain. So if it's not his big toe, it's not a turf toe type situation. It's probably going to be uncomfortable. He's probably going to take off a few weeks, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to linger and be long-term for him. It should probably dissipate fairly quickly, and he'll be ready to play.
And to your point, Gina, he's young.
Gonna heal up quick.
And it doesn't sound like it's a recurring injury. It's not something that he's done in the past that is re-aggravated or anything like that. It doesn't sound like he's had anything previously to warrant concern in the future.
Stacy, does this put your mind at ease?
A little, yes, it does. It does. I just love Emeka Egbuka. He's just one of my favorite receivers. But like,
I love him. He just got married. Like, what's not to love about this guy? Yeah,
he's just precious. I love him. But I don't know if you guys know this. Why is it called turf toe? That's such a weird name.
I think good question. I feel like I would know this, and I probably have talked about this before. But I think was it an injury that was found to be more consistent with the use of the turf? I feel like that has something to do with it, but I can't, don't quote me on that.
That's really only because we don't like turf fields.
Facts.
I really don't know either. That seems like a good question that we should find out. But.
Yeah, somebody in the chat, go look that up and see what the internet tells us. On that. We did have a question from Instagram about Jaylen Waddle, which is one of the players that we have coming up next on our list. Originally, we just had Jaylen Waddle here to talk about hamstrings, but another rookie Jordan Tyson joined the hamstring club today. And that's been a lot of news going around. Everybody's really distressed about that because he has, an injury history going in. But like, I think this one, I feel like this injury causes more, like fantasy football, like PTSD than just about anything. Because like guys have missed so much time just because of hamstrings. I say just like, like it's how you walk, but like it just seems like it just wreaks havoc on people and on players' bodies. Like what actually happens when you pull a hamstring?
It's the same idea as what we were talking about earlier with pulling a groin, right? It's a explosive, fast movement that ends up pulling on that muscle and causing it to tear, have micro tears or larger tears, or completely tear apart, right? The problem with hamstrings is that they're a huge muscle. They cover two joints again. They go from your hip all the way down past your knee. So they're up at your butt and they're up at your knee, come down to your knee. So if you plan on running or walking, they're really important. And they do not heal well. Hamstrings are, you've got muscles on the front of your leg, your quads, and your hamstrings on the back. Quads are notoriously stronger and take over a lot of the force a lot of the time. So hamstrings, just like your adductors for your groin muscles, are the weaker muscle in the duo. And that's why you see more of those injuries there. So those hamstrings, once they get irritated, the problem with hamstrings is that, and from a fantasy standpoint and all of that, the problem is that you never know how long it's going to take to heal. Yeah. Because it could get better and then you play one game and you're out again and you tweak it. So I think that's the hardest part when you're looking at a fantasy league and looking at your players. Hamstrings are so inconsistent that you don't know really what you're dealing with for quite some time, depending on how bad it is.
Yeah, again, so when you're talking about Jaylen Waddle and Jordan Tyson, there's two different situations here. So Jaylen Waddle, I think they were already talking about he's been working on the side, and he's expected to be back, I think already. I think they were hoping he would be back, and I thought they were saying a couple days, and it's already like day 10 or something like that. It's taking longer than they had already expected. But again, the good news is we have 4 weeks till week 1. I think he's going to be okay. To Beth's point, you always have to worry about re-injury on these. But when we look at Jordan Tyson, this is the one that breaks my heart. And I'm going to hate everything I'm going to say right here. So I'm just going to put that out there. So he landed awkward and was pushed from behind. So what the coach was saying is like, hey, this isn't his old injury, because he had an injury, same hamstring at Arizona State University, that basically killed his senior year, kept him out of the combine and pro day and things like that. So the fear, and every Saints fan is like holding their breath right now because they're like, oh my gosh, he just missed all that. The Saints have given him extra time. He comes back and boom, hamstring. I gotta say it though, like it's the same hamstring. It doesn't matter that it happened in a different way. It's the same muscle, and it'd be different. If it was a different hamstring, it was the other hamstring, but it's the right side. And he's a wide receiver, and I do not love this for him. And I would say, of the two that you just gave us between Waddle and Tyson, I feel like Tyson is the one that would be a question mark. I don't know that he'd be back week 1. I think this has got to be a solid. I mean, I think he missed like 6 weeks already. I think they kept him out for 6 weeks, but when they drafted him and just kind of was like, take it easy. I mean, I think they're going to have to do the same here. I would think maybe 6 to 8 weeks if this is the same hamstring. I mean, Beth, help me out here. I feel bad because I like this kid, but
I agree. I think that's the problem is that like I said before, hamstrings are so finicky and they can be irritated for so long. They're huge muscles. They cover 2 joints. They're involved in so many different activities. And for a wide receiver who relies on sprinting and pushing off, and if he's right-footed, God forbid he's right-footed and trying to use that leg to propel himself forward off the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I agree. It's going to take a while for him to get back. And regardless of how much he's practicing on the sidelines, how much he's practicing alongside. Until he goes at 80 to 100%, you're not going to know really how that hamstring tolerates it.
Do you think there's, like if you've had hamstring issues, like in the past, do you become more susceptible to that, or is that something that you can just, kind of do different recovery methods or something with that might help, you getting that in the future? Or is it just kind of one of those things that you just have to kind of be extra careful with going forward?
Yeah, I mean,
From my experience, yeah. Go ahead, Desi.
No, I was just going to bring it back to the same thing. Like, again, you lose your you've got scar tissue that's healed this spot. And so you are now just going to keep, like, it's just not going to be the same flexibility there. And so now you're decreasing the flexibility in a spot of the hamstring that you're essentially needing flexibility, or else you're going to, re-injure it. So it's hard to mobilize and stretch scar tissue. I mean,
They do some.
Right. I was going to say, yeah.
And I think too, it depends on where the injury is, right? So a hamstring injury up at your hip compared to hamstring injury down by your knee, proximal versus distal, is going to cause different pain, different changes in what you can and cannot do. So if it's a consistent injury at one location, then you're looking at the possibility of like a muscle avulsion or a bigger injury down the road. If it's a muscle belly strain, again, that is a little bit easier to come back from than something at one of the joints where the muscle attaches to the bone. Those are going to be more bothersome than a muscle belly injury.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of my questions too, was like where, like does it matter, like what part of the hamstring gets pulled? Like, is there one that's better than the other? That kind of thing. But I guess I didn't even think about, like, I think it pulled a hamstring. I'm just thinking the hamstring, not necessarily like where it actually pulled, like on the body. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, we've got Alec Pierce. He's got this weird ankle heel issue that he's been dealing with. He had surgery on this during the off season. The Colts did extend him the contract, I think, all knowing while that was going on. So, presumably they weren't that concerned about it. But it does seem like it's, going to cause some issues, for him and his recovery and everything. And then, so I wanted you guys to talk a little bit about that. But then there was also some news recently about this like platelet-rich plasma injection that he may or may not have gotten, like depending on who you talk to with the Colts. And like, I didn't know what that was and what that meant, and if that's something that's pretty standard or not. Can you guys chat a little bit about Alec Pierce?
Beth, do you want to start with this, or?
I don't have a lot on him just because I didn't get a lot of background on him, but also with the surgery and the platelet-rich plasma, I thought you would have a little bit more to go off of from the medical side.
Yeah. So basically with this guy, here's my problem. They said it was an ankle/heel.
They're different.
Thank you. I'm like, those are two different things. You can't have surgery on an ankle. There's no ankle heel. Did he have two different? Right. Thank you. Achilles again. Like, just say it's an Achilles. Like, this is where it's complicated, but they did come out and say it was like wear and tear. So it makes me also think, okay, was there a little arthritis? Did he have like a little bit of like
a bone spur?
Right. There's things. And so I'm not real clear as to what is going on with this guy. Now they're saying that he had platelet-rich plasma prior to going with surgery. Platelet-rich plasma is a way that you can draw off blood, whole blood, you spin it down, you extract platelets, which is, the clotting factors of the blood. And they do a lot of this treatment for like intraoperatively, meaning when they're in surgery, a lot of times they'll do this, but well, let me stop there. So one, they did this platelet-rich plasma. My guess is they injected it into the ankle joint. It's a guess. It's a total guess, because typically you're not injecting that into an Achilles. Like, you don't do injections in Achilles because it can rupture. So I feel like the PRP was done in the joint. I feel like they tried to give it a go. It didn't help restore the pain or whatever, he was feeling. So then they moved forward with surgery and they cleaned it up, meaning they went in and they kind of vacuumed out little pieces that might have been in the way, or bone spurs or things like that. Bone spurs are just think of like a little knot on a log. That knot shouldn't be there. And so they can shave that down. So there's things that they can do. Sometimes soft tissue, you can have like, there's a covering on bones that is like cartilage. And you can get, as you start to have some, I'm going to say the word, arthritic changes, you can disrupt the cartilage, and that can cause little tears that can kind of float around. So when they clean it up, they're going in and they're like shaving down little pieces of cartilage, or they're shaving down bone spurs. So on one hand, I'm like, is there an arthritic process happening that's, causing these issues in his ankle? In which case you would think that the cleanup would have helped. And then there's talks that he had another PRP treatment, but those have been, those allegations have been shot down. So this is really interesting. I'm not quite sure if is there two problems happening in that ankle/heel? Two, is it arthritic, or is it something else? And three, did PRP help at all? And PRP, if it's arthritic, will take multiple treatments before you start to see any improvement. So I'll start with that. There's a lot going on.
I'm basically avoiding Alec Pierce at this point, and I'm taking all of Josh Downs that I can get.
Same. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. Like, I really, give me Tyler Warren, give me Jonathan Taylor, give me Josh Downs. I really don't want to deal with the whole Alec Pierce situation.
Which is sad, because I was actually really excited about Alec Pierce coming into the season, and then hearing about these ankle issues, and I'm like, you know what? I don't like problem players, so I am just gonna avoid.
Well, I mean, for especially what he does, he's explosive player, field stretcher. Like, you need your ankles. You need him to be healthy, right?
Yeah, they're important.
Yeah, they're important. What is there something that you guys would want to see from him or hear from camp that would make you feel a little bit more confident with him going into the season, and that he's going to be a little bit more back to, I say normal, but I know we already talked about that's probably not going to always happen right away, but anything that you guys think would be important, things that you would want to hear coming out of the Colts camp?
Yeah, I want to hear what the heck is actually happening. What is it?
If they could share a little bit more, that'd be great.
Right.
But that's kind of the MO right now, especially during preseason and training camp and all of that. I mean, I think so. Like Buffalo now with our new coach, I think the other day he was commenting on one of our players, and his response was, "It's a lower body injury."
Was this hockey?
That's where we're at this point. So the fact that you're getting it's an ankle and a heel, like a specific limb, I feel like is a win for you guys. So
I kind of appreciate hockey players.
They won't share.
Yeah, and like Technics Chick saying, like, this was exactly the time of year when CMC, like, it was like the whole Achilles, and then like there was pictures of him getting on a plane and going to Germany for these PRP treatments, which is, I was kind of like, yeah, PRP is fine, but don't inject it into the damn Achilles would be great for me. And then I don't know that he got it done, but then it's weird because I think Kyle Juszczyk and George Kittle were just talking about, and I think he even did like commercials for this place they go to in Mexico for PRP treatment.
Yes.
And I was like, bro, why is CMC going to Germany then, unless it was like some specific treatment for an Achilles? Anyway, so I digress. PRP is platelet-rich plasma. Again, platelets are the clotting factors of our blood, but it also holds growth factors. And so when you are able to spin down whole blood and extract that out and inject it directly into a joint or something like that, then it's supposed to have regenerative properties to it. There's some great studies on like skin, I think derm, or like post-op skin wound healing is where I think it first started. And then it kind of grown from there. Orthopedically speaking, it's another use. There's lungs, there's all kinds of uses that they're looking at for that type of treatment. The interesting thing is my son had a UCL tear, and he ended up having what I call the Brock Purdy surgery. It was the UCL repair with the internal brace. And so I even asked, the surgeon, and he was the surgeon for the Tampa Bay Rays. And I said, "Hey, doc, what do you think about PRP done in conjunction with surgery?" And he was like, "There's going to be blood there. He's got PRP." And I was like, "Good. Okay. Glad I asked that question." Touche.
But also, it's your son who's like 17 years old.
I was going to say,
not a 20-year-old or a 30 or a 40-year-old. We would probably get PRP. They would probably send us right to it.
Yeah, exactly. Do not pass go.
Right. Directly to the PRP.
Exactly.
I said last but not least, but I was that was the complete lie, because Desi, I want to give you a chance to talk about Ricky Pearsall from your 49ers. I think we were all just pretty devastated to see him be out for the season. He's just dealt with so much, but what can you tell us about what's going on with him?
I would like to clear the air. And Beth, I haven't talked to you about this, but I'm going to have you clear the air with the faithful, because we crashed out. We totally crashed out. Another number 1 draft pick, that's a complete bust, blah, 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 all these things, and then it's the substation, and it's all our training staff needs to be fired. First of all, I want to say I'm super proud of the 49ers, because they have brought on 6 more physical therapists. So 6 more PTs have joined the staff. That means they just started. We are not going to see the full benefit of that probably this season, right? So Ricky started having issues with his PCL last year. We knew about it. Most PCLs are treated non-surgically. A lot of them will do well with rest and rehab. He did an incredible job with doing that in the off season. We saw his workouts, his lateral cuts. He was jumping, plyometrics. He was doing everything in his power. He looked great. He came into training camp looking amazing. Boom. And then his knee started swelling up, right? So at that point, that's when surgery is considered, right? So I just want to clear it up that I feel like in this regard, all the right things seem to have been done. It's just unfortunate, and it's unfortunate timing. And I hate this for the kid. But now I'm going to turn that over to you, Beth, and whatever you want to add to that.
I think you said it beautifully, Desi. You're absolutely right. PCLs very rarely are managed with surgery. It is a last resort. It's not like somebody tears their ACL and they're out the next week for surgery. It's not an Achilles where it snaps and you just go right in. PCLs you really can manage without the stabilization of muscles around it can usually hold it together. The fact that he's having that much irritation and bothersome symptoms with it, it's the right call at this point. Buffalo's in the same boat. We've got a couple players that like to do that as well, right? It is the right call to not do it until you have to do it. I wish they could have made that decision at the end of last season so that he'd have a better chance to make it in this season, but they did what they thought was right. They've got lots of doctors telling them and showing them the options, so.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. We have 2 other guys now in our wide receiver room who have histories of hamstring injuries. No big deal, right? We're gonna be
For
okay.
a team that has as many injuries as you do, you guys do fine every year.
That's what I said.
Right.
You guys are doing okay. You'll be fine. I think it'll be somebody that we're not expecting. You guys are gonna get Kittle back. It'll be all right. It'll be okay. I think you got
We gotta see. We got to see. I don't know. With the Shanahan stash, it's it's giving Pink Panther, and I'm not sure how I feel about this, but
I need Christian Kirk to be the guy. I grabbed him last round in the Queen's Classic, and I was like, maybe.
I know, right? I would say that's not bad. I mean,
maybe. I mean, leaning on Christian Kirk doesn't feel real good, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Any given
Going on
Sunday.
into the season. Yeah. Guys, well, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I know it's getting a little late, and I appreciate everybody that's been watching online and on Instagram. And it's just been such a really incredibly educational night to kind of learn all about these different injuries and, kind of get information from, people that are actually in the medical field and not just like our Twitter doctors that, who knows what's going on. So appreciate you guys for taking your time and everything. Dezi, Beth, if you could tell us where to find you guys online again. And then also what we have to look forward to from Girlfriends in Football and when you guys are going to be, like what your schedule is during the season and all the kind of stuff where we can find you and make sure that everybody's giving you a follow.
Yeah, most of our stuff's on our website at girlfriendsinfootball.com. And you can also follow us on social media, including YouTube. Our podcast goes live every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. 8 p.m. Eastern time. Yours was 8:30. Ours is 8 o'clock Eastern time. And we're on Instagram, Girlfriends in Football. I'm Coach Dezi on X, and we're going to be getting a TikTok. So we're trying to go there. We've got some cool stuff that's cooking, including a recipe book that's coming out. One of our featured segments on our show used to be called Cocktails and Mocktails. We are changing the name and we're launching a recipe book filled with cocktails and mocktails and lots of football knowledge. So definitely keep an eye out for that. We've got a special gift for your attendees at the event coming up here in Tampa.
Amazing. Well, so guys, make sure that you are coming to the event in Tampa. Beth, where can they find you online?
I am following Dezi. I have my Instagram is Bethlyn32. I probably need to get one that goes a little bit more football themed, but that's where I'm at. And I am working on getting better with TikTok and X and all of the things. So find me on all of those places or just tag Girlfriends in Football and we will find you.
Yes. Gina is the queen of TikTok, so she can give you some tips.
Nice. We are on Facebook
My
too.
TikToks are really not football related, but they're fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I always forget about Facebook, but yeah, we're Facebook also too. So guys, make sure you all are giving them a like and a follow on Facebook as well. Gina, thank you again for coming on tonight. Appreciate it. You can go find Gina at NobleG_FF. I am Stacy _Perez83. Guys, thanks again for watching. We will be back with some more preseason info. We're going to be recording a little bit later this weekend and having that out for you guys early this week. Don't forget, Fangirl Football Championship Draft Weekend next weekend, August 21st through the 22nd. You can sign up at fangirlfootball.com. We will see you all there. Until then, guys, have a great night. Have a great weekend, everybody.